A Worldview from London with Adam Gilchrist.
But first up, let's go to the Korean Peninsula, but of course, North Korea, experiencing a crisis when it comes to food production. It's a perfect storm of problems for that, what we call a hermit nation.
Yes, a critical food crisis, at least we think it is, because accurate numbers and stats from the country are hard to come by, frankly. But essentially, this is a combination of extreme weather, from drought to flooding, almost in one fell swoop, which has badly hit crops, a refusal to accept any overseas aid. One newspaper in Pyongyang called foreign aid poison candy. Satellite images, though, suggest North Korea is also producing less food. According to this UN agency, 180,000 fewer tons of food last year compared to 2021. And not just bad weather, border controls, sanctions, of course, food prices are soaring, corn prices are up 20%, for instance. So we're seeing all the food prices zoom. I mean, I'm in a country where we currently have shortages of fruit and veg to the extent that supermarkets are now rationing customers. I never thought we'd be back to rationing in this country. I am not in the only country in the world that has a food crisis, but I suppose given that North Korea is one of the poorest nations on earth, and as you say, this hermit nation with the shutters closed, it's sharp end stuff for the good ordinary folk of North Korea. We're not talking Kim Jong-un. He's probably got a plate groaning with food.
I think it was in 2016. I visited South Korea on assignment, and part of the number of people I interviewed was an escapee from North Korea, and just the lived experience detailed by this young woman. We try to imagine, and we get sometimes the insider reports that we read, but listening to conditions in North Korea firsthand was a really important discussion.
Absolutely.
Have at that moment. But let's move to the UK now. A final decision on Shamima Begum. She's the young woman who left the UK to essentially join ISIS in Syria. She had said she was coerced, she was young, she
Yes.
was essentially forced into a marriage after that particular action on ISIS. She then tried to return to the UK, and UK authorities actually, no, you're no longer a UK citizen.
Which is an interesting thought, because has the UK acted illegally? And some suggest absolutely, although how you hold a government to account is always a tricky thing. I mean, as we know with Russia and Ukraine, or any number of war crimes before. But in this instance, how would you hold a government to account for stripping an individual of their citizenship when she has no citizenship of any other country? So to make her stateless, I believe, is illegal. And that's effectively what the UK government has done, now backed up by a number of court decisions, the latest of them, as you say, yes, essentially confining Shamima Begum to a refugee camp in Syria, where she's been for the last couple of years. You may remember the original pictures, the 3 British schoolgirls caught on CCTV heading to the airport. They left their homes aged 15 to become jihadi brides, not the only ones who did this. They joined up with Islamic State in Syria. One is definitely dead. One is believed to be dead. The third, Shamima Begum, here she is in a refugee camp, refused permission to return. Now, here's the thing. She was, number one, she was 15. So is she not therefore a victim of trafficking, a victim of a particularly extreme paedophile gang, which is what Islamic State were kind of operating at that time? They were just taking in any number of kids. 15, you are a child. But at the same time, she hasn't shown a great deal of contrition. She hasn't done that thing where she's gone, oh my word, what have I done? If only I'd known what I know now. These people are barbaric. I regret everything I've done. She's done a sort of a, well, if you insist, I'm sorry. If it really is that wrong and I've hurt people, then okay, I'm sorry, which really doesn't wash in the modern age. You have to somehow feel it, or at least show that you feel it. So it's a very, but that should, of course, not sway the law. And yet we have the law absolutely swayed by a government saying, we don't want her to be our problem. She's British. You'd think she was our problem.
Yeah. And then finally, a mystery in Japan. a giant ball washing ashore, and it has residents, locals, authorities perplexed where this giant ball came from.
There is an obvious and immediate answer, but I won't get to that first because that would spoil the fun. But yeah, there's been a flurry of speculation on this coastline in Japan, found by a local, investigated by police. The army bomb squad turned up. It looks like, it absolutely looks like the big white bull from Raiders of the Lost Ark, if you could picture that thing. It is made of metal. It is hollow and apparently not explosive. That's certainly the conclusion of the bomb squad. So it's benign, it's safe. Found in the Japanese coastal city of Hamamatsu, dubbed either a mooring buoy, which seems the most likely, Godzilla's egg, something from outer space, or, given how Japan is another country that is vexed about Chinese spy balloons and other devices, could it be a surveillance sphere? To all of these things, you think, no, it's a mooring buoy. It's just stopped bobbing about anymore and has become unattached. But you know what? They love a bit of speculation in Japan, at least as much as we do, Lester.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, don't we? Adam Gilchrist, looking forward to chatting to you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Drop me a message. I'll wake up in the morning. I'll see your message to see how Manchester United is done tonight against Barcelona. Really appreciate it.